Hey, my name is Joe Kelly. I'm a pitcher with the St. Louis Cardinals. Born in Anaheim, but raised in Corona.
Just Cole Jasper family wants to thank you, and on behalf of the kids with a million dreams, we want to say thank you for the interview. Let's start off the interview. As a kid, did you ever dream or see yourself as a professional baseball player?
Yeah, I mean, my first dream as a little kid, I think I have the paper still. It was from kindergarten. I never really liked the sport of baseball. I was like 5 going into it. My grandpa put me in the game. He was my first coach, actually. And I mean, that was my first year playing. I had a great time. I thought I was going to play something else, you know, football, basketball. But I mean, I had a great time. I thought I was okay. I never thought I was like really good. And I mean, after that first year, man, it was awesome. I got to play with my cousin. I grew up in Anaheim, so I played in Anaheim Little League. After that, I think after that first year, I mean, that was when I first really enjoyed it. Like, usually little kids don't enjoy it right away, but it stuck with me, and it kind of hit me. And every time someone asks, like, hey, what was your dream growing up? And actually, like, I told them, like, hey, I wanted to be a Major League Baseball player. I wrote it on all my questions in kindergarten. I mean, even if it happened or didn't happen, I mean, that was the first thing that I ever thought I wanted to do.
What position did you play as a kid?
As a kid, I was more of I started off at shortstop, and I didn't like it too much. I didn't like the ground balls. Hit me in the face. I kind of shied away from it. So I told my coach, and I ended up moving over to second base. And it's kind of like the same thing. And I was like, you know what? I don't know. And then I started pitching, and I pitched, and I was like, all right, now I want to play the outfield. So it was more of, I played them all, but more pitching a lot when I was like anywhere from 7 to 12 is when I really pitched.
Cool. So, as a kid, were there some struggles you faced while trying to reach your dream of becoming a pro baseball player or obtaining that?
Yeah, when I moved out here, when I was, I think, 11. I moved out here at age 11. This is actually where I played. This is the first field I ever started off in when I moved to Corona. This is Corona Pony. I started on a team with my dad, and we knew a couple of people who lived out here, and we got them on a team. So, I mean, at that point, baseball was like all I knew, and it was kind of crazy being at such a young age. I first started playing travel ball, and I mean, going everywhere throughout Southern California. We played in New York, Las Vegas. We had a lot of tournaments, and it kind of wore me out. I decided to not play anymore going into my like 7th and 8th grade year. 6th grade when I was 12 playing here. I played every single day practicing, played every weekend, and I kind of got sick and tired of it. It was all I knew, and I was just, like I said, I didn't want to play anymore. My arm hurt, I got used too much, and I was like, all right, Dad, I'm done. And he's like, well, that's on you, you know. I mean, I can't force you to do anything, and so I took I think a year and a half off, going in like to before high school, like or 7th grade or 8th grade, and he was just asking me like, hey, you gonna play in high school? Like, I don't know. I'm just tired of it, and then that's when I went to play football. So, but that was probably playing too much. I mean, that was probably like, the only struggle, probably playing, just getting worn out as a kid, and that's not what it's about, you know. You want to have fun, and I wasn't having fun.
What made you get back into it?
I had a lot of friends who, I made throughout my teams, and as I stopped playing and I took up football, I kind of missed them. I mean, that was a family. I mean, you see those kids every day. You sleep over at their house. You play video games, you play ping pong, you play basketball against each other, and I wasn't missing the actual game of baseball at that point. I was probably just missing my friends at that age. They were the ones who convinced me to come back and play. I told my dad I started missing it, and he was like, hey, it's up to you. If you want to go back and play, it's on you. And I really enjoyed my year of football. Played for Corona Chargers, and I had a blast. but I think it was just probably just missing my friends and being around them every single day was what brought me back.
So when did you realize you wanted to take baseball seriously?
It was probably, like I said, when I started playing again, probably high school. I kind of got more serious into it. I knew I was pretty good, and from travel ball and just playing against other guys, that man, I was always that little kid though, like, hey man, you're really good, like only if you were bigger or only if you were stronger or whatever. But I mean, my freshman year I went to Santiago, and then I transferred to Corona my sophomore year. I didn't like the program over there. I didn't like how things were getting ran, and went to Corona High and got on the team there. My sophomore year, I played on varsity, got a little bit of playing time, not much, and I mean, so I was still small then, and I think it was between my sophomore year and my junior year I started doing like scout ball tournaments and like kind of like pro stuff for like pro scouts. I played on a scout team. I played on the Red Scout team, and I mean, I was hanging with those guys out there, and I was still small, and I always had a pretty decent arm, and one of the college coaches where I went to UCR actually, and the college coach was there at one of the scout days, and I came up from the outfield, like playing where I played center field, and I made a couple good throws, and the coach liked it. He's like, hey, I really like your style of play. I like your arm. I like how aggressive you are. I want to come out to your school tomorrow and like after a practice and watch you like hit and run and like basically scout me. So that next day I came out and I threw, and he was sitting in the dugout and he offered me a scholarship, and I was like, wow, like that was quick. I didn't know it was that serious. Baseball was that serious. I was like, I guess I'm pretty good at it. But after that I was like, all right, sweet, I get to go play college. Like I still was like, all right, this is getting a little more serious. And I got bigger. I was like, I think my sophomore year I was probably like 5'9", like 140 pounds maybe, and I was just much smaller than everyone. In my junior year I was still small, and like I think my senior year I grew a little bit more, and my senior year I was probably like 5'11", maybe 155 pounds. So I was still way small, but I mean, I understood like what I had to do to get to the next level, and I mean, going on from there, I just went to college, and then I didn't know what was next. I just thought I was going to go to college and just get school paid for and be on the team.
So, after college, did you see yourself maybe going further than that, or was there anything that maybe like open your eyes and be like, you know what, I could probably try it professionally?
Yeah, it was in college. I went to college going in as an outfielder because I wasn't pitching yet, and it was in college. It was I was messing around in the outfield my freshman year. I knew I wasn't gonna play. I was gonna probably redshirt because I was a freshman. That's what most freshmen do. I wasn't good enough to make the team playing center field, but I was messing around in the outfield one day, and guys were hitting batting practice, and I got the ball, and I was trying to throw it all the way from the warning track all the way to the batting cage, like, and try to hit our guys, like, messing around. And one of the pitching coach who saw me, he's like, wow, Kelly, you ever pitched before? I was like, I did when I was young, like 12 and stuff, like, and I pitched 7 innings my senior year in high school. Like, I'm not a pitcher, I don't pitch, like, I just did it because I threw hard. And he's like, well, let's try to see if you can throw. Why don't you try to get on the mound? At that time, our closer was hurt, so they needed another arm. They weren't looking for me for it, but they were just like, maybe I could help somehow. And I got on the mound I had some Vans on and some shorts and stuff. He's like, well, try to get on the mound. I was like, all right. So I got the ball and did whatever I thought was a windup and threw the ball, and it came out of my hand good, and pop, hit the glove, and the pitcher coach was like, wow, that's pretty hard. Like, hey, can you do that for me again? And I was like, I think I can. I mean, it shouldn't be too hard. I'd just throw it to the glove, right? He's like, yeah. He's like, hold on. So at that time, he ran back into the clubhouse and he grabbed the radar gun. And he was like, all right, let's see how hard you can throw. So, I mean, I got back on the mound, like, knowing there's a radar gun behind me. I was like, all right. And I got it, and I threw it as hard as I could. Same spot. And it said 95. And he's like, all right, let me see. He's like, do it again. Let's see it again. I was like, all right, sure. Did my wind up. 96. He's like, do you know how hard you're throwing? I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I'm throwing pretty hard. I think I got a good arm. He's like, like, yeah, you're throwing harder than anybody in all of Southern California right now in college. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, I think that it's time for you to hang up your bat and you're going to start pitching. And I was like, all right, man. Like, at first I wasn't too happy with it, but I mean, that's when I kind of started, like, I was like, wow, man, I'm throwing harder than anybody in our league. And we had like Cal State Fullerton, Long Beach State, like all these good guys. And as a freshman, I'm just striking out all these guys, these juniors and seniors, these guys that are going to go play pro ball next year. And that year, I started taking things serious. I was a freshman All-American, and I made Team USA that first year ever pitching, and it was a pretty fun year, and it was exciting. It was a really exciting moment, knowing that, like, all of a sudden, my coach said I had a good arm and just tried to pitch me, and he threw me in there, and he had confidence in me. And from there on, I was young. You get scouted as a junior, but there were scouts coming up to me like, man, hey, see you in a couple years. You look good. Like, hopefully we'll draft you one year. And I was like, all right, sweet. But I think that's when I really started getting super serious about, hey, I have the talent, or hey, maybe I could play in the next level. I don't know. I didn't know for sure because I was still 18. But I mean, that's when I started. Probably, I wouldn't say working harder, but I started working smarter. Like, pushing myself a little bit more in the gym, pushing myself a little bit more, like learning how to pitch better and just stuff like that.
During that transition, did you ever doubt yourself? Was there ever a point where you wanted to quit and just drop everything?
Yeah, I mean, I would probably, I think my sophomore year of college, after that, I was coming off of that big year as a freshman, and the next year I came in and I thought I was going to have the same exact success and kind of took things the easier way. I thought I was really, really good. I was like, hey, I know how to do this. And I didn't work as hard, and I ended up getting hurt my sophomore year and missing a bunch of games. And I tried to come back from that too soon, I think, and started pitching again, and I wasn't as successful. I was getting hit around. I was throwing a lot of balls, and I mean, I was like, man, last year I was so good. This year, what happened? And I mean, I had people tell me like, hey, it's just the game of baseball, and hey, you were hurt. And I mean, I didn't want to make excuses. I mean, I just flat out stunk my sophomore year. I was like, started putting a lot of pressure on myself. Like, hey, next year, like, that's my drive. I wanted to turn the page my junior year and get back on track. So I went to play summer ball and worked really hard and try to get back for my next year. That's probably one of the times I've doubted myself plenty of times, but that was probably the first time I've doubted myself.
What motivated you to come back stronger?
I think it was just sucking. I flat out sucked my sophomore year, and I didn't have a great junior year either. It was probably, I mean, my grandpa, like I said earlier, was the first person who ever put me in the game of baseball, and he passed away when I was 12. And he was one of the main influences of me. I sat there and couldn't fall asleep many nights going, man, why am I not doing good? I mean, what am I doing wrong? And I just thought to myself, I mean, what if my grandpa's still here? What would he tell me? I mean, like, hey, like, he was tough nosed, and I mean, would he straighten me up? Would he say, hey, let's go? Like, just stop swimming in your own head. Don't get down and just work harder. So I mean, I went numerous times not being able to sleep, and I was like, you know what, forget about it. Like, that was last year. My junior year coming up, like, this is your draft year. You have a chance to do what most kids ever always dream of and get drafted by a Major League Baseball team. So probably just telling myself to not stop stressing out over the little stuff and just try to work on what I wasn't doing earlier in my career.
How did it feel when you found out that you wanted to get signed? What was going through your mind at that moment?
There's a lot of things going through my mind. That was after my junior year. It was me and I knew I was going to get drafted. I just didn't know where or what round. So it was my whole family, a lot of my buddies, we all went to OG's over here in Corona. It's a pizza place, and they showed the draft. Like, we put the draft on their TV, so we had a big draft party, and we're like, it was also my 21st birthday. So the day of the draft was on my 21st birthday, so we all had like a big celebration. Like I didn't know what round I was going to go on, what pick, what team, but I just knew that somebody was going to take me just because all the scouts and like all those guys were telling me like, hey, you're going to get drafted. You're going to get drafted. We don't know where or when, but that day going through my head, I mean, it was just a blast. I was hanging out with my family, my girlfriend, who's now my fiance. Like we were all there, just having a good time, just drinking adult beverages because I was 21. And just sitting there looking at the TV, just waiting to get drafted. I mean, the first round goes by, my name doesn't get called. And I was like, all right, that's fine. Like, I could have won the first round. I didn't have the best numbers. Like, I didn't do my best the junior year either. Second round goes by, and I'm like, oh, man. I started, like, freaking out a little bit because I was supposed to be really high in the draft. And I was like, all right. Next, the third round goes by, and it's like the middle of the round. And, like, I haven't got the phone call yet. And at that point, like, I think my face turned from like a smile to just upset. Like I was frowning, like, man, like this is. I don't think it was because I was mad that I didn't get drafted yet, but I think it was me being. I was really emotional because I was with my family and my friends, and I mean they were all there with me celebrating, waiting for me to get drafted, and my name didn't get called, and I think I was just embarrassed as a person. That I wasn't drafted yet, and finally the 98th pick in the draft, the St. Louis Cardinals, out of nowhere. I didn't even know. I never even talked to St. Louis Cardinals in college. Like I talked to like all the other teams. Like they came and watched me pitch one time, and they drafted me in the third round, and I saw my name pop up, and all my family was celebrating, and I was kind of just shocked. Like it was all happy, sadness, everything all mixed up in one, and I got the phone call. They're like, hey, Joe, this is da-da-da-da. We just took you in the draft. It was Jeff Ishii who called me, my scout. Hey, we just took you in the draft. Celebrate with your family, but I look forward to speaking to you the next couple of days to find out what we're going to do, where we're going to send you, if you're going to sign, because like I had the right to say no or whatever. But after that, I mean, I hung up the phone, and I kind of got over that sadness part, and I was like, hey, it doesn't matter where I got drafted. I mean, everyone gets a chance, and third round is extremely high. It's because out of 50 rounds. But, I mean, I was disappointed I wasn't first or second, but at that point it didn't matter anymore. I was there with like I said, all my family and friends, and I forgot about it and just had a good time celebrating not only my 21st birthday, but getting drafted by a Major League Baseball team.
On the day of your debut, how did it feel? What was going through your mind? Were you nervous, anxious, scared?
Nervous, anxious, scared. I was probably all those all in one. It's kind of hard to say. I've been asked this question plenty of times, and I think I was more nervous, not because I was pitching in the major leagues, but I didn't want to do bad. I got there, and it was a normal day to me. I got in the locker room, said hi to all the guys, tried to do my normal routine, went out to the outfield, did my stretching, did my running, started warming up, had a smile on my face, was having fun, and we were sold out because the Cardinals get great fans, great support out there. Cardinal Nation is the best, and I started warming up, and I got done with my warm-ups, and I started walking towards the dugout where we go take a little break before I went on the mound, and I was surprised with myself. I was like, wow, I'm not nervous right now at all. Like, I feel good. Like, I don't know what's going on. I expected to be really, like, pale face, like, spinning, like, almost getting dizzy, sweating, looking scared, and I think that I was shocked some of my teammates going, like, wow, this rookie, he's got good composure. Like, he looks good, and I mean, Yadi was like, hey, man, just go out and have fun. Like, whatever happens at your big league debut, you'll never forget it. Just go out there and have fun. And the first inning went by. I gave up, like, my first hit. I had my first strikeout, all in one. So that was a great time. And after that, I was like, oh, I think I'm good. I was like, I got my first inning out of the way. I'm good. I'm good to go. I won't be nervous. And then in the second inning, that's when it hit me. Like, I don't know why it hit me there. Like, you think it would hit you in the beginning, but it hit me in the second inning. Like, I just got really nervous. My face started getting all white. I was all sweaty. I was like, I realized what I was doing. I was like, wow, I'm in the big leagues right now. I'm pitching. I'm in the major leagues right now. And I'm pitching to the Cleveland Indians on this field to Yadier Molina, and then I kind of froze there and I had to step off the mound and regroup, and I couldn't. Like, nerves were going through me, my knees were shaking, and I was trying to get my sign, and it was nuts because I expected that to happen to me before the game and not during the game or even the second inning. Usually that would happen after the first pitch, like, oh, I'm good. But after that, I mean, there were a couple guys on. I got out of the inning without giving up a run, and I was like, all right, now I'm back to normal, but, I mean, that whole day flew by so quick to me. I haven't even had a time to go back and watch that game. It was kind of all a blur to me. Everything was all mixed up in one, and it felt like a 5-minute span. Everything was going so quick. But, I mean, that day was awesome, and I didn't know how long I would be there for, so I kind of took everything in. I mean, I remember what the weather was like, obviously because it was 103. It's really humid, so I remember just everything. I mean, I remember that walk to the dugout. The only thing I don't remember is actually me being on the mound and pitching. But everything else, it was pretty fun and exciting times, and I would say it's something I'll never forget, but I forget what I did in the game, but I remembered everything else before and after, so.
How does it feel to be living the dream now? What's that like?
It's different, man. I mean, it's crazy, especially out there in St. Louis. Like I said, those fans, we sell out every game, and they know everything about you. It's kind of all hit me like really, really quick. I mean, I'll go to across the street. I live in an apartment, and I would run across the street to go grab some food at. We had a Henry's right across the go, or Sprouts, whatever you want to call it, and go get food. And when I'm running across the street, people are honking at me. I'm like, can I not jaywalk out here? Like, I don't know what's going on, but people were recognizing me all over. I mean, after my first start that next day, it was an off day, so we had a chance to go see the city. So me and my fiance, we went to go eat lunch at this upscale Mexican place. I was like, let's see how the Mexican food is in the Midwest. And I was like, all right, we'll give it a chance. And I mean, we ate it. It was good. And the next thing I know, the bill came in. The owner walked out with the bill, and he was like, hey, nice start yesterday. Good job, rookie. Like, all this stuff. And he's like, this is on me. Like, I got you. And I was like, wow. It was crazy because these fans recognized me after one day, one game pitching. But the love out there is awesome, man. It's pretty cool, and just the lifestyle going up there, it's so much different from the minor leagues. I mean, the travel's good. We get to fly on our own planes. I mean, the group of guys we have is amazing. Everything else is magnified up there. So coming from the minor leagues to the big leagues is night and day. It's just everything's a lot better, and you get treated better, and you don't have to eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches every single day because you're struggling in the minor leagues. You finally actually get some good food after the games and before the games. But being up there, I never take it for granted, and I told myself that from day one. I'm like, you can't take this game for granted. You don't know how long you're going to be there. I could go out there next year and get hurt and never come back and be the same, and someone will take my job. There's always someone like me who was in the minor leagues trying to take someone's job in the big leagues. There's always going to be another guy, and while you're there, I mean, you just got to keep working hard. You can't slow down and take your foot off the pedal and pump the brakes, because there's always another guy that's just as good as you somewhere trying to steal your job, and I learned that. So I think being in the big leagues, I'm going to keep working hard and just doing everything I can to perform and do my best out there.
So what's next in the near future? What's the next step or the next goal you want to accomplish in your baseball career?
My next goal, I mean, I haven't set too many. This year is obviously to be on the team, and I mean, whatever role they had me in. Last year I started, I came out of the bullpen. I mean, whatever role they had me in, I have different goals set. I just want to probably, I would love to make the All-Star team somehow, but I mean, as soon as possible, whenever, it doesn't matter. But at some point in my career, I'd love to be on the All-Star team, and maybe more than once, who knows. But I mean, I don't really have a set goal in my mind as to what I want to accomplish. I just want to go out there every single day and perform well enough to stay up there, just to stick and be around for a long time. I think I'd rather play in the big leagues for 10 years than anything else, you know what I mean? But I don't really have probably any set goals in my mind right now.
What advice do you give to the kids that are going down the same path and chasing their dream?
I think the best advice, I mean, there's all these cliche things you could say. I mean, work hard. I mean, yeah, it obviously takes a lot of hard work to get there, but I wanted to quit baseball. I mean, I did quit baseball because I wasn't having fun anymore. Once I realized that, I mean, it's a game. It's not life or death. I mean, the parents put so much pressure on kids nowadays that, I mean, with travel ball, and it goes with any sport. I mean, my advice to the little kids is just have fun with it. Don't let your parents influence to what you want to do. If you don't want to play the game, don't play the game. I mean, if you want to play football and you want to be really good at that, then do what you love. Keep playing the game until you don't have fun. That's what I told myself. I mean, if 5 years down the road, I'm still in the big leagues and I'm doing well, but I'm not having fun, like, I don't know why you want to keep playing it. I just keep telling myself, hey, it's a game, and to get paid for playing it is awesome. It's a dream come true, but I mean, if you're not having fun doing it, there's no reason why you should be doing it. But I think that the kids shouldn't put pressure on themselves, like, hey, I have to make it to the major leagues. If you're having fun and you're playing the game, there's a better chance that you have of succeeding than not, because if you're putting so much pressure on yourself at a young age, it obviously takes everything away from what it's meant to be, and you're not going to work as hard if you're not having fun. You're not going to be like, hey, I want to go hit some more at the batting cage if you don't like it. If your parents are making you do it, you're not going to try your hardest to, like, hey, I'm going to take more ground balls, or hey, I'm going to pitch more. But I would just tell all the young kids, like, to just go out there and just play it. It's called a game for a reason, and you want to go out there and give it your all, but at the same time, you always want to keep a smile on your face. When you stop having fun, I mean, you don't have your heart into it, then you shouldn't be playing. But if you have your heart into it, I think you have a better chance of succeeding than not.
Well, Coach Aspis family just wants to thank you once again, and Kids with a Million Dreams, thank you for everything. Thanks for the interview.
No problem, guys. Thank you guys for having me, and I want to give a shout out to all the people who've had my back the whole time, who all believed in me. I want to give a shout out to my dad, my family. I mean, thank you guys for being a huge support in my life, taking me to play every single weekend, driving. I know that was tough. I want to give a shout out to my grandpa, who put me in the sport of baseball. Without him, I wouldn't be here. And I love you and I miss you. And I want to give a shout out to Culture Aspects for having me on. And thank you guys for hooking it up with the fresh clothes. And make sure you guys look out for them. Alrighty? Peace.
Look at the coroner, daughter is dead, mother is mourning, straight